Hello, I'm Kevin Benedict, Senior Analyst for Digital Transformation here at Cognizant, and I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited because today we have as our guest Oracle's own Suhas Uliyar. Thanks for joining us, Suhas.
Thanks, Kevin. A pleasure to be here this morning.
So you and I have known each other through various career changes, etc., and this is a fascinating time to be involved in enterprise mobility. So I'm really excited to jump in and learn from you. But before we do that, let me just ask you, where are you calling from today?
Oh, I'm in wonderful, rainy Seattle this morning.
It's raining in Seattle?
What a surprise, right? But it
And
is.
what is that shirt you have wearing there? Are you celebrating something this year?
Enough said. Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Okay, Seattle Seahawks. No, they had a preseason game last night, didn't they?
Oh well, that was game number 4, which we can forget.
Okay,
It
we
was
won't
better.
talk about that. So how long have you lived in Seattle?
Oh, for about now coming up to 10 years. I moved from the San Francisco, San Jose Bay Area to start up Dexterra, actually, in the Seattle area.
Very good. So there's a lot of history there within enterprise mobility. Well, I'm calling here today from beautiful sunny Boise, Idaho. It's supposed to be 92 degrees here. And okay, let's jump into this. Suhas, this is now let's talk about first your formal title. What's your formal title today, Suhas?
I'm the Vice President for Mobile Strategy in the product management team in a newly created mobile group. It's actually been about a year and 2 weeks now.
Very good. So this is exciting because, I've written over the years saying, where's Oracle? Where's Oracle? Well, now Oracle's jumping in enterprise mobility very big. But before we get into that, since this is a part of a series called the Mobile Expert Interview Series, what makes you an expert, Suhas?
All the scars on my back, Kevin. Being at mobile for the last 15 years. I wrote my first mobile app way back in '97. If you remember the WAP protocol, that's when everyone thought that, hey, the dot-com boom is going to move over to mobile, and all the carriers were putting in, at that time, 2G, 2.5G networks. So I've been in mobile since then, started my own company for what was also defined as MEEP, MACP, going from WAC to MAC to MEEP to MACP, if you remember all those wonderful acronyms that came
That
up.
sounds like a rap song there, Suhas.
Let's start one, right? But yeah, so been in about 4 or 5 companies that were leaders in on defining enterprise mobile, right from mobile device management to now mobile application management to mobile development. And I was recently named one of the top 100 influencers in the wireless space.
Congratulations. That's awesome. So I think those credentials will work for the Mobile Expert Interview Series today. So let's talk about, enterprise mobility has been growing for, probably 15 years, as we were just talking about here. How important does Oracle view enterprise mobility today?
Very, very critical, right? So while we've seen enterprise mobility over the last 15 years, there was a recent stat published by the CIO magazine that was actually a little bit alarming to say that only 10% of enterprises actually have an enterprise-wide deployment of mobile. And so we see this as a big opportunity as enterprises start, executing on their mobile strategy. The good news is that all enterprises actually now have a mobile strategy. What they're trying to figure out is how do you execute on that from an effective perspective. And at Oracle, given that Oracle is in a very unique situation, we also sell applications as well as technology. So for us, it is a very, very important aspect of how we determine a mobile-first strategy for a lot of our customers who have deployed deployed Oracle applications and are looking to have a wider mobile strategy for all their applications.
Got it. So, Suhas, you guys took your time getting into the market and making a big splash. Others maybe got in the market in 2010, 11, 12, 13. You guys waited to 2014 to jump in big time. Why is that?
So, it's interesting that at least from a marketing perspective, Oracle hasn't come out and focused on mobile per se. But when I joined Oracle last year, I was very pleasantly surprised that a lot of the Oracle customers have been going mobile on Oracle technology. It's just that they didn't call it mobile by itself. They really truly implemented multi-channel. And if you see what the challenges of mobility have been in the past, is that enterprises created this silo of mobile architectures which was completely disjoint with their IT infrastructure, whether that was for integration, whether it was for security. So, it is a little bit of a myth that Oracle hasn't been in mobile. It's just that we did not position ourselves in the mobile space. But given the importance and the fact that customers are now wanting to talk to us mobile, there is an increased investment in what we're doing with mobile from an applications perspective, from a platform perspective, and from a security perspective.
Very good. Now, there's a lot of different categories that the various analysts have created to describe different components of enterprise mobility, everything from the mobile application development platforms to MBAS for mobile backend as a service in the cloud to enterprise mobility management and mobile device management and security and all those kinds of things. Where would you guys position yourself?
The answer is yes to all. We see our strategy in terms of three pillars. One is about the mobile application development platform, and knowing that we have customers that fit into both the on-prem world as well as the cloud world. We see that as your choice of deployment. So we have been ground up building an enterprise class MBAS. MBAS is one component of the platform, in my opinion. But a more robust enterprise platform that is available in the cloud as well as available on-prem with mobile application client development tools that allow you to build the right ones or run anywhere cross-platform tooling. So everything that a mobile developer needs to build an end-to-end mobile application, so certainly that's one area. The other area is we have released a mobile security suite that is all heavily focused on mobile application management and with additions of mobile device management as part of that. And those two being the core from a technology perspective. So one targeted at application developers, the security suite targeted at IT security. But the third component are applications. Given that Oracle has a pretty large install base of applications, Siebel, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, and also the new age of cloud-based applications around HCM, CRM, etc. These platforms are used by our internal teams to build out the mobile applications for those backends. So it's a three-pronged strategy: apps, platform, and security.
Apps, platform, and security. So let's talk about that. When I was doing research prior to our interview today and being briefed by your team, there's a whole list of different products and product names and brands you have under there. Can you look from a perspective of today's solution, what are the origins of those solutions? Are they acquisition? Are they built internally? Are they extended existing solutions? Why don't you walk us through the evolution to today's product?
Absolutely. So let's break it in the platform and the security bit. So and I'll start with security. When I joined and we analyzed the market, it was also a time where the industry was evolving from mobile device management functionality to mobile application management functionality. And we believe that that was sort of the right stepping stone towards the world of enterprise mobile management or mobile security. Given sort of our leadership position also with identity management, the idea was how do we extend identity management to the world of mobile so enterprises have a common infrastructure by which they can provide single sign-on, identity access, and governance. And we added mobile application management to the acquisition of Bitzer Mobile. So we looked at that from a perspective of containerization, separating personal and business information, wrapping applications where you may not have the source code for that, the app tunneling aspect, all integrated with your single sign-on of federated policies. So that was one that was sort of acquisition that we did to sort of drive the overall value, but we integrated that with Oracle's mobile and social access management and governance components. On the development side, it has been homegrown from scratch. And we've also sort of done a lot of work around packaging. So we built out the mobile application framework, which is sort of your write once, run anywhere. And our focus with that was primarily to leverage your existing Java skills that a lot of our enterprise customers have. I mean, today you have tools like Xamarin that is focused at .NET developers, and we have the mobile application framework that is really focused on how do you get Java developers and enable them to build mobile applications without having to learn JavaScript or HTML5. The framework in itself generates out HTML5 JavaScript code, but with a full Model View controller framework for building Java in the business logic layer. So we have a JVM that goes across iOS, Android, and other operating systems.
Okay.
So that was all built in-house. Now, realizing, and you've been in mobile just as long as I've been, and a challenge with mobile has been that the mobile client development has gotten easier over a period of time. The challenges continue to be on the time and the cost it takes to integrate your client side, what I call it, wiring that client side into your enterprise framework, which is about how do you expose services, how do you integrate to data that's living either on-prem or cloud, how do you orchestrate data between that. So that is sort of where Oracle's footprint has been pretty strong in the enterprise, and we're a leader in integration services. So what we did was we sort of took what is the minimal set required from the entire big Fusion middleware set, defined the most prominent components of the adapters required to pull in services from backend systems, the service bus layer to expose these services as REST JSON APIs, the ability to then work in an offline mode, do push notification, and we packaged that. So we leveraged a lot of the investments we had and also the customer install base we had and packaged that to make it mobile. So those were sort of what we did immediately as two packages that are available in the market and have done really well this year. In the meantime,
so Suhas, I was just doing a research project. I'm still working on it. That was all about real-time mobile infrastructure. And the result of a survey I did, and thank you for many of you participating in that survey, is that one of the biggest existing challenges to supporting enterprise mobility is that real-time interaction in support of hyper-personalized mobile apps. So how do you know who the user is and actually give them a personal experience on a mobile app and do that instantaneously given all that data and information on the user is buried in back-end systems. So the middleware is the critical component for enterprise mobility. So, you know, I was impressed when I was getting a briefing by your team earlier, the emphasis on those kinds of things, the integration, the speed of the enterprise in support of mobility.
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for the lead-in, and that's what, you know, I was sort of explaining earlier that we had these two packages, but ground up, we've been building this mobile cloud service which we announced at OpenWorld last year, and we're going to be showcasing at OpenWorld this year. And mobile cloud service was designed from the ground up to exactly answer that or solve that problem, which is how do you bring features of the MBAS along with API management and integration all together in one cloud offering. And the idea there is that we want the mobile developer to be a first-class citizen that's dealing with mobile APIs completely abstracted from where the sources of data is or are, and be able to deal with it in a very common approach with built-in services. So that's the mobile cloud service that really drives that real-time nature of understanding the context of the mobile user and providing them services that drive that behavior one step ahead, because at the end of the day, it's all about mobile user experience and convenience.
Got it. So any of you out there that's going to OpenWorld this year, there's going to be a big emphasis on mobility, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's going to be mobile everywhere.
That's awesome. So let's do a couple things. Let's talk about target market. Is this just, you know, is this priority one existing Oracle users, or is this everybody, because just about everybody of any size has Oracle products internally?
Yeah, so the short answer is everybody, but there's a targeted go-to-market, right? So while we welcome everybody and anybody to sort of come and try out the service, the low-hanging fruit for us certainly are Oracle application customers and Oracle customers that have deployed mobile middleware, middleware and other databases which is a pretty large install base by itself. So that's sort of our initial go-to-market, but we'll continue to expand to bring in other services. For example, Fusion middleware is used in almost every sort of backend, regardless of whether it's an Oracle backend or not. So this really provides us a really good way to build a mobile, to help customers execute on their mobile strategy.
Got it. So Suhas, one of the other emerging trends that's really big and is top of the line on the hype cycle right now in Gartner's hype cycle is the Internet of Things. Talk to us about, what you guys are doing. Does this same solution support the Internet of Things, or is there a separate solution?
So interesting. So the same solution is leveraged in the Internet of Things solution. But for us, IoT is a little bit deeper and broader than perhaps what a lot of other companies are focusing on. For us, given that there's an emphasis on embedded Java, so we can go all the way down to the device level, the gateway levels, to define a common set of services, which is today is a pretty fragmented market. So we can provide that commonality on the way devices can be discovered, the way they can be secured. And one of the biggest challenges, I was in IoT in our previous job, and you and I talked about this. The challenges were, how do you create a common set of authentication schemes? How do you ensure the security, the identity of this device, like you and I log into a service? So this is where Oracle is sort of ground up looking at that layer, adding our expertise in identity management and mobile security to top of IoT, and then bringing in the platform, the mobile cloud service platform, as your backend integration for fast data management, big data management, event processing, and then leveraging the big scope of Oracle from a big data perspective, from an analytics perspective, and a mobile client development perspective. So the mobile platform becomes an integral part of the overall IoT platform, going all the way from device down to the application layer, and then, of course, integration to the infrastructure we have in the backend.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, Suhas. Now, let's talk about the trends that we've seen over the past 24 months. How have you seen the enterprise mobility market evolve to where it is today?
So the great news, I would say, is that you look at the titles of folks in the enterprise. You never had a chief digital officer or a chief mobile strategist. I mean, you had to go deal with a line of business. And so I think, first of all, that is just important to note that we have someone who we can go and talk to who understands the situations or the problems they're going to face or are facing. But in terms of, I think BYOD has been a huge change in the enterprise that's creating this momentum to adopt more mobile. If you go back in time, one of the challenges with mobile adoption was the ROI, right? If you bought a device, you bought the network, you had to first deal with how do I recover the cost of the device before I actually write a single line of code. That has really shifted where employees are pushing and saying, why can't I have this application no matter where I am? Of course, that brings in the challenge of security, etc. But that is a big shift we're seeing where, I sort of an overused term, the consumerization of IT, but that's the reality. The BYOD, consumers bringing their devices, and now, the new devices that are coming out. So, for example, the watches, the glasses, they're now beginning to sort of drive a little more innovation in the enterprise. So what we're beginning to see now is sort of this whole nexus of forces from all angles driving towards end user experiences, and the CX side of the customer experience side of it really driving mobility in the enterprise.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that with us, Suhas. Now, Oracle is in a unique position in the industry with your databases, with your technology, with servers, etc. Can you and if we look at the enterprise mobility market from a vendor perspective, there's a lot of vendors. There's probably several hundred vendors out there. But Oracle, with all your inventory and history, what are you able to bring to the market that is unique and gives you a competitive advantage over perhaps most of the startups out there?
The first thing, as you said, an integrated approach, right? I think what Oracle brings to the enterprise market is the enterprise maturity, right? And let me explain. I've looked at Oracle's never been shy in acquisitions. I mean, you see the number of acquisitions that have happened. But when we look at sort of what differentiates Oracle, is the understanding of what happens within the enterprise. For example, security requirements, integration requirements, understanding the data flow, the orchestration of these things, performance, scalability. I'll give you an example. I met a customer who had a mobile app, and the mobile app looked pretty awesome. But when you logged into the mobile app, it was very, very cool, came up very fast, but the refresh of the data took forever, right? That's user experience. Now, what's happening in the enterprise is you're adding on more and more volume of mobile users in addition to your existing web traffic. So how do you handle that scalability? How do you handle the kind of availability, the performance requirements? And that's, what Oracle has really solved for a lot of the enterprises. We're a trusted partner for a lot of our customers in terms of scalability, performance, availability, all the classic enterprise-grade nature. And now that we are moving into the cloud, we bring that to the cloud. And that is a fully holistic solution from infrastructure to platform to applications. Nobody else can say they can do that.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing the differences there. Now, let me ask a personal question. If you were to take an inventory at your personal residence, how many wireless devices might one find there?
You should ask that question to my wife, who's all fed up with my bills and my expenses on these. So I would say close to about 100 devices.
Really? 100 wireless devices in the house?
Yeah, so my refrigerator is connected to the internet, my thermostat is connected to the internet, of course all my TVs, which I have quite a few of them, my printer, all my mobile devices, including my kid's toothbrush that has also got a Wi-Fi, or actually it's a Zigbee connecting to via my Wi-Fi port. So yes, we have a lot of radiation that's going on in our house.
Oh my. So here's the follow-up question that you opened the door to, Suhas. Have you ever got in trouble with your wife for your use of mobile devices?
Not so much of mobile devices because I travel quite a bit. When I'm with the family, I try to keep it away. But I have got into trouble trying to show how remotely I can control my refrigerator. And once I actually, I don't know whether I reduced the temperature or increased it, but the net was there was no one at home for the weekend, and we had to throw all our food away because of.
Oh no!
But I was trying to show off how the Internet of Things actually works, and I messed up.
Well, Suhas, I want to thank you so much for sharing your insight, experience, and knowledge with all of us today.
Thank you, Kevin. It's a pleasure. It's great to see you again.
Yep. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.